What up, everybody? We saw a harsh reality of the drug game in BMF Season 2, Episode 5, that our decision to get into the life impacts more than just us. It also impacts our family and loved ones, and sometimes it will also put them in danger. The most often scenarios is families torn apart, when we have to go away to prison. This can affect children, spouses, girlfriends, parents, grandparents, and many more. But sometimes our decision to be in the life will put our family's lives in danger. For example, one of my first plugs told me that he was affiliated with a certain group or gang, whatever you want to call them. I'm not even going to say its name. And if I ever snitched, they would kill my whole family. But other than that, it's all good and we won't ever have no problems. And we never did. The same with my main plug later on. He never even said anything, but what's understood don't need to be explained. When he would front me weight, I could have ran off to Cali or Florida or wherever else, but would my family have been safe? I was not going to take that kind of chance. This is the stuff you always got to think about when you're in the life. That's why I have no respect for anyone serving out of their mama's house. You got on fresh J's and new gear, but you're putting your mama's life in danger. They could do a home invasion, a drive-by, or whatever. All things you have to consider when being in the life. I had places broken into several times, no matter how hard I tried. What if that was my mama's house and she happened to be home? I mean, we saw this scenario already played out this season in episode 2 when Rel thought he was strong-arming Meech and taking his work, but the next day Meech showed up at Rel's mama's house, and this was all the motivation Rel needed to agree with whatever Meech had to tell him. Though I'm sure Meech wouldn't have harmed Rel's mom or Zoe in season 1, neither Rel or Lamar could have taken that chance. But in episode 5, we have Lamar, who I have talked about in a previous video, that he has no street code he abides by, and that he is unpredictable and could do anything. Showing up at Meech's parents' front door, asking Lucille if she is Meech and Terry's mother, ready to take a new kind of revenge out on Meech and T and shut mama's water off. Now, keep in mind, I had just went back to watch BMF Season 2 trailer earlier in the week to see if I could see any more scenes from Detroit to see if Meech and T would come back this season. And I only saw one scene that looked to have been a funeral where everyone is dressed in all black and Meech is pouring the communion. I say this has to be a funeral because everyone is dressed in all black, but primarily because Meech is the one pouring the communion with Pastor Swift and T standing behind him. And I know this ain't going on at no church service. Even if Pastor Swift doesn't have a problem with Meech and T, if he let Meech pour the communion, he would not have any members left the next week. So I was for sure it was over for Lucille, and thinking Charles got to come from somewhere and take this L for mama like Darius did for Nicole in season 1. But Lucille's prayer was enough to stop Lamar from cutting her water off, and Lamar ran off. I said all that to get to the main subject of this video, and that is whose funeral is Meech at in the trailer. We know for sure 3 characters who make it to the end, and that is Meech, Southwest T, and Detective Bryant. Either though almost all the characters from the show are still alive in real life, We got to remember this is a TV series and it has been dramatized or whatever. So when certain people may not be in Meech and T's life anymore or enough in their life to be part of the storyline, we may see them being killed off for entertainment purposes. Take for example Kato in season 1. The person that character is based on is still alive. So, whose funeral do you think Meech was at? They currently have a long 14-hour drive ahead of them. So Lamar could very well come back to the Flannerys to finish the job. Also, remember Roland is supposed to be looking over their house. Could Roland, who is Meech and T's childhood friend who lived across the street from them when they were growing up, be the victim? Another possibility is that it could be B. Mickey. Either though there are a number of ways B. Mickey could be taken out. Check out this scenario I have. Meech and T figure out B. Mickey was either number 1 working with Detective Bryant or number 2 in on Lamar shooting Meech, and they take out B. Mickey themselves. And since B. Mickey was such a good friend, they pay for his funeral and give him a proper send-off. This is the type of gangster stuff you always hear about people doing. And in the Vlad interview, B. Meeks or D. Meeks, the person this character is based on, said he has not seen Meech or T in over 31 years. So he could definitely be killed off sometime. B. Mickey could definitely be killed off sometime in this season, especially if they're trying to make you like B. Mickey again, making him go beat up those boys who are punking Detective Bryant's son. So they're trying to make you like him again. Maybe he's about to be killed off. But yeah, I think Tommy Egan paid for Angela's funeral in Power. If he didn't pay for her funeral, he at least showed up at the funeral, consoling Paz, giving her a grip of money and telling her if there's anything she ever needs, let him know. So this might be the type of thing that Meech and T are doing for their boy B. Mickey. Sticking with B. Mickey for a minute, we already know that his mom is sick and in the hospital, so there's always a chance that it is B. Mickey's mother's funeral. But since the only 3 characters we see in this short clip is Meech, T, and Pastor Swift, there is also a possibility that it could be Lucille, Charles, or Nicole. Seeing that Charles and Lucille were already divorced by this time, maybe the writers wanted to have a plot twist where instead of having them get divorced, one of the 2 get killed off of the show. After Mama's prayer last episode, I think Lucille reminds Lamar too much of his own mama, so that would make Charles his target. My final theory is that Lamar loses his temper and snap on him and Meech's baby mama Monique, and she gets killed off the show before Meech moves to the ATL permanently and meets his other baby mama, the mother of little Meech. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Whose funeral do you think Meech and T are at? Or do you think I'm completely wrong and it's no funeral at all?